Morning, ma'am. This is my answer number one. Operating leverage is concerned with the relationship between the firm's sales revenue and its earnings before interest and taxes, or operating profits, when cost of operations such as cost of goods and sold operating expenses are largely fixed. Small changes in revenue will lead to much larger changes in EBIT. Financial leverage is concerned with the relationship between the firm's EBIT and its common stock earnings per share. On the income statement, you can see that the deduction taken from EBIT to get to EPS include interest, taxes, and preferred dividend. Taxes clearly variables, rising and falling with the firm's profits, but interest expense and preferred dividends are usually fixed. When these fixed items are large, that is when the firm has a lot of financial leverage. Small changes in EBIT produce larger changes in EPS. Total leverage is combined effect of operating and financial leverage. It is concerned with the relationship between the firm's sales revenue and EPS. Number 2, the firm's operating break-even point is the level of sales necessary to cover all operating costs. At that point, earnings before interest and taxes. The first step in finding the different operating break-even point is to define the cost of goods sold and operating expenses into fixed and variable operating. Changes cost and the operating break-even point is sensitive to a number of variables. Fixed operating cost, the sale price per unit, and the variable operating cost per unit refer to see how increases or decreases in these variables affect the break-even point. The sensitivity of the break-even sales volume to an increase in each of these variables is summarized as might be expected. An increase in cost tends of increase to operating break-even point, whereas an increase in the sale price per unit decreases the operating break-even point. Number 3, operating leverage results from the existing of fixed costs that the firm must pay to operate. Using the structure presented in, we can define operating leverage as the use of fixed operating costs to magnify the effect of changes in sales on the firm earnings before interest and taxes. Measuring the degree of operating leverage is a numerical measure of the term's operating leverage. It can be derived using the following equation. Whenever the percentage change in EBIT resulting from a given percentage change in sales is greater than the percentage change in sales, operating leverage exists. This means that as long as the UL is greater than 1, there is operating leverage. Number 4, financial leverage results from the percents of fixed financial costs that the firm must pay. Using the framework, we can define financial leverage as the use of fixed financial costs to magnify the effects of changes in earnings before interest and taxes on the firm's earnings per share. The two most common financial costs are interest on debt and preferred stock dividends. These charges must be paid regardless of the amount of EBIT available to pay them. The effect of financial is such that An increase in the firm's EBIT result is a more than proportional increase in the firm's earnings per share, whereas a decrease in the firm EBIT result is a more than proportional decrease in EPS. Measuring the degree of financial leverage, the degree of financial leverage is a numerical measure of the firm's financial leverage. Computing it is much like computing degree of operating leverage. Whenever the percentage change in EPS resulting from a given percentage change in EBIT is greater than the percentage change in EBIT, financial leverage exists. This means that whenever DFL is greater than 1, there is financial leverage.